15 Weird Facts About Magnum P.I. That will shock you is the ultimate insider look into one of television's most iconic detective series. For decades, fans have been captivated by Tom Selleck's mustache, his Hawaiian shirts, and the adventures of Thomas Magnum, a private investigator with charm, wit, and a knack for finding trouble in paradise. But behind the fast cars, tropical beaches, and high-stakes cases, there's a treasure trove of strange, unexpected, and downright bizarre facts about the show that few viewers ever knew. First, most fans don't realize how close the show came to casting someone else as Thomas Magnum. Tom Selleck wasn't the first choice for the role. In fact, the producers originally considered a few other actors, but after seeing Selleck's charm and charisma, he was chosen, and, as we now know, it was a perfect match. Interestingly, Selleck's commitment to the show nearly prevented him from taking on another iconic role in Hollywood. He was offered Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, but had to turn it down because of his Magnum P.I. contract. Imagine how different both franchises would have been. Another shocking fact is about the Ferrari that became so closely associated with Magnum, the Ferrari 308 GTS. While it looked sleek, stylish, and effortless on camera, the car was a nightmare behind the scenes. The show actually used multiple replicas and stunt cars because the real Ferraris were too expensive and too fragile for repeated high-speed action scenes. The cast and crew had to be incredibly careful, and yet somehow, the car always looked flawless on screen. Here's one that surprises fans even more: Tom Selleck's mustache wasn't just a style choice, it had its own contract implications. Selleck reportedly spent hours each day grooming and maintaining his signature facial hair. Producers initially worried that it might distract viewers or make Magnum seem less serious as a detective, but it became such a defining feature that the network allowed Selleck to keep it, and it has since become a cultural icon in its own right. Magnum's luxurious lifestyle on the show also hid some behind-the-scenes realities. While viewers saw a sun-soaked paradise, many outdoor scenes were actually shot under harsh conditions. Hawaii is stunning, but filming there meant dealing with humidity, bugs, sudden rainstorms, and even occasional hurricanes. Cast and crew often had to film in sweltering heat while maintaining a carefree, tropical aesthetic that never broke the illusion for viewers. Then there's the story of Magnum's signature Hawaiian shirts. Most fans assume the wardrobe was purely fun and flamboyant, but the truth is, those shirts were actually a production strategy. The bright colors helped Magnum stand out against Hawaii's natural backdrops and made the show more visually striking. However, the shirts also had their own quirks. Many were stiff, itchy, and uncomfortable, forcing Selleck to endure long hours of filming in less than comfortable attire. Magnum's interactions with Higgins, played by John Hillerman, offer another fun tidbit. Hillerman, who portrayed the uptight British caretaker, was originally supposed to have a much smaller role. But his chemistry with Selleck was so electric that the producers expanded his character significantly. Some scenes even had to be improvised on the spot because their banter flowed so naturally, adding a layer of humor and depth to the show that wasn't initially planned. Fans might also be surprised to learn about the stunts. While Magnum seemed effortlessly suave and brave, many action sequences were performed by stunt doubles. Selleck did do some of his own driving and minor stunts, but the high-speed chases, dangerous cliff jumps, and car rollovers were carefully executed by professionals to keep the actor, and the Ferrari, safe. Yet, when it all came together on camera, it looked like Magnum himself was pulling off every daring maneuver. Another weird fact involves Magnum's voice and narration. The show was structured around Magnum narrating his own adventures, giving viewers insight into his thoughts and emotions. But the narration was almost entirely rewritten after initial filming. Producers realized that Selleck's voice carried the perfect tone of charm and reflection, but the original scripts didn't capture it. So many lines were revised, improvised, and perfected in post-production to create that iconic, intimate connection with the audience. Even the show's theme music has its own strange backstory. Composed by Mike Post and Pete Carpenter, the now iconic opening tune was actually composed in a rush. The original pilot didn't have a finalized theme, and the music team had only a few days to deliver the score. Despite the time crunch, the result became one of the most recognizable television themes of the 1980s, instantly associated with Magnum and his adventures. The show also had a surprisingly strict filming schedule. While it looked effortless, filming in Hawaii required meticulous planning. Scenes had to account for tides, sunlight, and weather conditions. Even minor details, like the angle of shadows or the shimmer on the water, were carefully coordinated. The illusion of a carefree, tropical life was painstakingly created through countless hours of preparation, a fact few fans ever appreciated. Another bizarre tidbit is about Magnum's relationship with women on the show. While it was portrayed as charming and flirtatious, the scripts originally included far more dramatic or risque encounters. Many scenes were cut or toned down due to network standards in the 1980s, creating a slightly sanitized version that still managed to convey Magnum's charisma without alienating viewers. Even recurring characters had hidden surprises. Rick, TC, and Higgins each had unique quirks that the writers initially considered minor, but fan response turned them into central aspects of the show. For example, Higgins' disdain for Magnum's casual approach and TC's obsession with helicopter safety were originally small jokes that evolved into essential comedic and narrative elements. Finally, the show's legacy extends far beyond the original run. Magnum P.I. inspired reboots, merchandise, and cultural references that continue to this day. But these weird, behind-the-scenes stories remind us that what viewers saw on screen, a confident, witty, action-ready private investigator cruising through paradise, was only the tip of the iceberg. From wardrobe nightmares to stunt challenges, improvised banter, and rushed musical scores, the production was full of strange, fascinating realities that made the show even more impressive.